We've officially abandoned posh tasting rooms and studio lighting, traded them in for 2 wheels to pedal the untamed backroads of Portugal's Alentejo, because this isn't just another wine region, it's Europe's last wild wine frontier. This is Wine Follies Mapped. I'm Madeline Puckette, and I'm here with my teammate David Gluzman. In the last episode, we arrived in Évora to learn more about Alentejo's unique wines and grapes, and today we're going deeper into the south, the Beja, where we've heard of a guy who's the last known maker of Talha, the Portuguese winemaking amphora. But before we get there, we have another full day of exploration. Good morning! We are in Alentejo right now, headed to our next destination. We're on the road from Monsaraz to Granja-Amareleja, to a vineyard that has this subregion's most important wine grape. Then, staying in Alentejo's hot south, we meet the winemaker who changed everything to make top-quality Alentejo red blends. And then finally, we're on the bikes, on a very special off-piste route that takes us all the way to Vidigueira, which is the spiritual home of Talha's winemaking and the Honrado Workshop. Today is even hotter than yesterday. There are thousands of grapes, so what makes one worth saving? Well, this is the story with Moreto, a grape from here in Granja-Amareleja. This is José Piteira. He has a tiny plot of old vine ungrafted Moreto, and he brought his 2022 vintage made in Talha from those exact vines.
My first wine foi in Talha.
Yeah, in Italia.
In Talha do Bairro.
After 15 years working in wine and tens of thousands of wines tasted, this is the first time I've had Moreto, and I want to see if it holds up to the hype.
Thank you.
É maravilhoso provar vinho que provém dessa vinha no
meio da vinha. No meio da vinha.
Really fresh.
Honestly, I'm impressed. Moreto is worth saving, hands down. It's a little like Pinot Noir and a little like Grenache, but this vineyard gets up to 136 degrees in the summer. That makes Moreto a survivor. We're lucky that people like José have dedicated their lives to making these wines. And now for something completely different. We're headed to Herdade de Peso. This is one of Portugal's largest wineries that saw the potential here in Vidigueira and started a winery here back in 1997. But they're doing something very, very different. You might have heard how alcohol levels continue to rise in wine regions around the world because of climate change. But we've heard something incredible is happening here in one of the world's hottest wine regions.
For example, 2012, we bottled wines with 15.5. The new ones we will bottle 2023 vintage between 13.5.
Now, Alentejo isn't getting cooler, so what changed?
In 40% of our property, we are planting the old forest. Which means we nowadays we are having 60% with vines, the best soils, and 40% small trees, but we are working on that.
By taking Alentejo's rigorous standards of sustainability to heart, Herdade de Peso transitioned 40% of their land back to forest, and it's directly improved the quality of their wine.
There we go. I think you might have got it.
Portugal!
Woo! So the road we just rode, for starters, for cycling, those are the types of roads you dream of. They're relatively small, pretty much no cars, undulating, left, rights, lots of cool sceneries to look at, always changing. So that's super awesome. But in terms of like terroir, it was also really interesting because it went from arid, almost desert-like, and then we went over a little rise, and then bang, big trees everywhere.
Trees, it was green. Cool, the wind picked up.
So that's the exact thing that we've been trying to talk about, and the fact that like when you're in a car, you might miss that. But if you're riding a bike, you immediately notice the temperature change for starters, and because you're going slower, you can take it in. Like, you just understand the place so much faster.
I gotta say though, whew, it's a hot day.
It is toasty, yeah.
It's a roasty, toasty day. After some effort, we made it to Vidigueira and the Talha Workshop. Woo! Vidigueira!
It's like a forno oven out here.
I don't even think they need to bake these things. They could just put them outside.
I'm moving to the shade immediately.
The art of making Talha was always a closely kept secret. And as these large amphorae lost demand around the world and in Alentejo, the techniques to make them died with the last maker. Antonio Rocas is attempting to restart this lost craft. He's been experimenting developing a special clay mix using local clay. Each Talha is very time intensive and takes about a month to make. Then it gets fired in a large kiln that looks like a massive brick house. Seeing these amazing clay pots makes me wonder how many of our artisan skills we've lost in the endless march of time. I have to respect the work of bringing back a lost art like this, even if no one has made wine in one of these yet. To finish off our day, we stopped in a cellar just outside of Vidigueira, in a village that's been making wine since the Roman times. In fact, this cellar is so old, it was around in the ancient Roman times.
So when we dig the floor, we discovered that underneath half a meter of dirt, there was this original floor. And this started to take us to wonder, maybe this was a wine cellar back then, because the arches are Roman inspired. Then we find like a clay floor with this inclination that is very well known for wine cellars. And then we decided to take the dirt out of here and keep the original floor. So when we did this, we discovered this here. So this is basically another Talha that it's buried in there, and that was already in here. So if you look into the inclination of the floor shows that this is the lower point of the wine cellar. And this is because back then, if a Talha would break during fermentation, then the wine would flow and they would save it in there. This is called the thief Talha. And this is exactly the concept. The concept was to keep the wine that otherwise would have been lost.
We're at Quinta de Paral. It is a winery and guest accommodation, a hotel. Very fancy.
And this place is outstanding. Dare I say, one of the nicest places I've ever stayed in.
But tomorrow there's more. We're heading up to Redondo, where we're riding from the Serra de Ossa. This is a mountain range that really controls the influence of the climate in the region. And I've heard there's actually an ancient megalith on the path on our way there, and we're gonna try to see if we can find it. Stay tuned to Wine Folly. Our next adventure takes us deeper into Portugal's Alentejo, where we learn by drinking. Until next time, happy tasting, peace out.